Hi, it's Paul Antonelli here. Welcome to another episode of the Ideal Business Podcast. I'm delivering this podcast to you from a place called the Bolita Homestead, which is located in the top end of Australia, in the Northern Territory, sort of in the outback. And this is a bit of a historical spot here. There's no one, we're camping around the corner from here, and they've sort of set this up for you to wander through and have some historical look at. To set the scene, it's about 37, 38 degrees. It's pretty warm up here in the top end now. And so it's nice to find a nice shady spot with a bit of a breeze. Just wanted to set that scene. Okay, so today it's all about flows. What am I going to talk about? I'm going to be talking about outflows. And this relates to an idea connected to marketing more than anything else. And the title is Outflows Equals Inflows for Business Growth. And what does that mean? Well, probably the best place to start with this is the idea of what is it that we all want in business in relation to sales and marketing. Why do we bother doing that? What is it that we want? What we want is inquiries. What we want is people who we've quoted, people who turn into clients. We want to have sales, which turn into revenue, which delivers profits. All those things that I've described to you just then are inflows. So these are the outcomes that will result in your business, which is what you want. So what we want in a business is inflows. What we can't actually create in a business is an inflow. So let me explain what that is. I can't make the phone ring. I can't get money into my bank account. I can't get someone to buy a product as an outcome. What I can do is undertake activity which will result in an inflow, if you can make the distinction. So inflows, and often in business, what we do is we put our attention on inflows. We want to generate so much revenue, want to get so much sales, we want so many inquiries, we want this, we want that. So a lot of our numbers and our KPIs relate to inflows. What we also need to do as part of that process is focus on what will generate and create those inflows, which are outflows. So it's a simple concept, yeah? If we want more inflows, we need to create more outflows. If you want more inflows, you can create more outflows. And this applies not only to business, it actually applies to anything that you want to be doing, any part of your life that you want. If you want to, you might be looking for a girlfriend, yeah, which is an inflow. You might want to connect up. In order for you to create that inflow for you, you need to do outflow. You need to be out there. You need to be meeting. Need to go out and socialize and engage. So that outflow activity will create the inflow result. So in relation to business, what does it all mean? Okay, so, and what specifically is an outflow? And one of the reasons that I flag this is that often, if you're a bit of a perfectionist, and often people in the marketing area are very, very particular about the imagery, the look, the feel, the wording, all that type of stuff, which, look, it is important, but sometimes get a little bit too carried away on those sorts of issues and not actually getting things out. And there's an expression that you've probably heard, which is, it's better to get something out the door than keep it in the drawer. And that's certainly a principle that I've sort of applied in my business. I'm not very much of a perfectionist when it comes down to that type of detail. I'm not a highly detailed person. So for me to get things together and get things out is actually, is quite easy. I quite prefer that. And so one of the ideas behind this is to, if you can set yourself a bit of an outflow and understand what an outflow is and how important it is in the growth of your business, then you can sort of appreciate how critical it is compared to getting things 100% right and correct. So what's an outflow? I'll go through some of the different outflows, and this relates to marketing activity for your business. But there can be other type of outflows. An example is, you want to employ someone for a position. That's an inflow. You want to engage someone. That's an inflow. Obviously, you've got to run an ad. You've got to put it out there. You've got to, communicate that out to your networks. That's an outflow. So what are the types of outflows that you can have that can impact? All right, let's start with some basic stuff. First thing, obviously, is you could do ads. If you do paid ads on Facebook or Google or different platforms, LinkedIn, that's an outflow. You're presenting and putting a message in front of people, and that's outflowing into the social media streams. So that's a clear outflow. If those people engage with you through that ad, they inquire, that's an inflow. So as a result of running an ad, which is an outflow, you can get an inquiry, pick up their name and their details, which is an inflow. Then what you might want to do with that outflow is with that inquiry is like you might want to nurture it. So you will send them out a brochure, an information pack, something relating to their inquiry. That's an outflow. And then they may then come back to you with a communication relating to wanting for more information or details about pricing or that type of detail. That's an inflow. You may have a salesperson that rings every inquiry. That's an outflow. So any time that someone rings outside, that's an outflow. And if they connect up with someone and that person engages, that's an inflow. I think you're starting to see what this means, So what it means is that your ability to grow your business is not about getting things perfect and getting things right, particularly with marketing, branding, and messaging. You're better off just starting the process and setting yourself a target for a number of outflows. How many outflows do you want to generate in a month? Is it 1,000? How many outflows are you doing now? Yeah, right now. If you look in your business, how many, in relation to marketing activity and promotion, how many outflows are you doing? How many ads do you present out? How many calls are being made? How many emails are getting sent out? If you're using hard copy letters have become quite powerful because we don't get much in the mail. I mean, talking about the real mail. So you could actually send letters out to people to be able to engage with them. That's something that, back in the day, it was, I guess it was, a bit old school because everyone had letters. Nowadays, it's a bit of a novelty, actually getting some marketing material in the mail, like a letter. So one of the things that we did and we do in our businesses is look really closely at outflows. I remember a couple of things that we did. It was probably a few years back. We wanted to set ourselves a target of, in 1 month, we wanted to, and we did this across our franchise network for the inspection business, we wanted to create 300,000 outflows. So 300,000 pieces of flows, communications that went out from our business. And so, and we did do that in that month. We sent out emails, we did letterbox drops, flyers went out, we had phone calls, people organised meetings, and this is obviously across a fairly large network. But it was quite interesting to see the impact of that. And we didn't, and when you look at an outflow, it's far better, as I've mentioned before, just to take action and take activity and push stuff out there than to worry about getting it perfect. As you start doing that type of activity and you start getting information and you start getting feedback and you start getting data on how effective, then you can determine whether that particular type of outflow is effective for you or it's not. So you can learn, but the only way you can learn is you've got to get some data, you've got to get some volume through the flows, and then you can actually start understanding what works and what doesn't work. And so where is it better for you to put your attention? And so it's a really useful thing to do. And if you're finding, one of the things to look really closely at, if you're finding you're not quite getting the growth or the sales targets that you want to achieve in your business, are you generating enough outflows? Is there enough activity going out from the business? Do you have someone who is doing calling for potential clients, just gets on the phone and canvasses for business? Do you have emails that are going out to past clients or people that have inquired and maybe didn't become clients on a monthly basis? Do you send out a newsletter? Are there networks that you're engaging with? Are there Facebook groups that you're communicating and being involved in? These are all outflows. And when there's, whenever I look at it and someone says, oh, we're not happy with our level of sales, typically what people want to do is they want to look really closely at, we need to look at our messaging, we need to fix a landing page, the brochure's not right, I've got to change the logo, the branding's not right. And the first thing I always ask is, well, tell me what you did last month, tell me what you did last quarter, and see what level of activity is actually taking place. Because it's too difficult, it's impossible to determine if any of those other issues I flagged are an issue unless you're being very active and you've got a lot of outflows going out. So what I'd suggest is if you want to see your revenue grow, you want more inflows, you want more inquiries, you want more orders, you want more people that you're going to quote, you want to send out more proposals. A proposal is an outflow, for example, and you want to generate more revenue, I'd look really closely at the level of outflows that are taking place at the moment. Are they enough? Are they enough? Are you generating, are you putting enough out into the marketplace in order to generate the inflows that you want? That's probably a key thing to consider. And it's not that hard to do. I remember when I started looking at this process, I used to just have the marketing people and anyone involved in the marketing just record their number of outflows, how many calls they made, how many emails they sent, how many flyers or brochures got sent out, how many letters, or I just got them to record it, and then we can track it and we can see. And if the number's really low, we go, well, that's never going to help us or get us to achieve our targets. It's just not going to happen. It's too low. So this leads on to the next idea that if you want to generate, if you have an understanding of your sales funnel, you need to understand what are the metrics of each along each step of the way. So, for example, if you're in a sort of business that, let's say you're a service-based business, you might do consulting, for example. If you want to achieve 3 new clients a month, you've found that your success rate with when you provide a proposal to a client is 1 in 4. So that means you need to quote 12 clients. And if you need to quote 12 clients, you might find that from the data that you've got that you can quote 1 in 4 inquiries. So that means you need 50 inquiries. In order to get 50 inquiries, you might find that you've either got to spend so much in a budget each month, or you've got to do so many outreach contacts either through LinkedIn or whatever it is in order to achieve that. And so what happens is those are sort of the inflow targets. An important thing to do in your business when you're looking at insufficient inflows is to see if you're generating, if you know those number flow throughs, are you doing enough activity to generate them? And we call those quotas, so what you have is you've got targets, which are those KPIs, inquiries, sales meetings, proposals out, orders, that's certain KPIs, but they're targets. So what you want to have that accompanies a target is quotas. And quotas is an outflow activity. Is there enough outflow activity? And the power of doing that with your team and actually defining quotas is it eliminates the confusion around how much should I be doing. So if in your business, for example, that you want to achieve, like as I was saying, 3-4 sales a month, from experience that you need to be doing 4 or 5 or 12 proposals a month. So that means you need to have 50 inquiries. To get 50 inquiries, you might ring 150 or 200 people. And so you can actually assist when you're working with your sales team to go, look, from our experience, you need to be making so many calls a day, so many calls a week, so many calls a month. If you're doing that to the right target group, and that's important with the right message, can't just do it randomly, then you're going to get that flow through. So hopefully, I just wanted to sort of, it's a really simple concept, and often when I've discussed this when we've looked at it within our own business or with clients, often they're very quick to dismiss it because it's just too simplistic. It's far more complicated. It's all about, there's, Google Analytics, there's algorithms that are working. Yeah, I get all that. I understand all that. But at the end, the principle of sales and marketing haven't really changed in 100 years. And it still relates to volume. If you want more coming in, you've got to do more going out. And if you don't have enough going out, then you simply won't get what you want coming in. So to recap that, what that really means is that outflows, and I've defined what those outflows are for you, equals inflows. So if you want to increase profits, sales, inquiries, proposals, it means you have to increase the outflows that will generate those inflow activities. And the best way to do that is to look at your historical information, look at what you've achieved in the past, and look at what level of quotas, what level of activity quotas need to be done for those targets to be achieved. So I trust that makes sense. Really like to, it's a great concept to look at your own business through this particular filter, and it's really easy to implement and to get things happening. And what I'd really encourage you to do is not get too particular or too hung up on getting things perfect. It's far better just to get things done and get things out than get things perfect. I just close off with a little story. I had a whole bunch of flyers for the inspection business, and there was a typo on them. I had about 10,000 of these flyers. We used to do letterbox drops, which we don't do anymore. And one of my staff flagged it and said, "Oh, look, there's a typo. We can't really use them." I said, "Why not?" And they said, "Oh, look, it's really unprofessional. It doesn't look that great." I said, "Don't worry about it. Just get it out." So we just, dropped, got these 10,000 out. We had people email us and contact us to say, "Oh, just letting you know that on the third line of the second, on the back page, there's a typo." And we go, "Fantastic, thank you." But at least they actually looked at it. And then we'd simply say, "So you're interested in getting an inspection done?" So even when there was a typo, sometimes it can play in your favor to have something that gets people's attention. All right, well, thank you for listening. Hopefully you found that interesting, and it can help you sort of understand some of the approaches you can use to expand and grow your business. Look forward to catching you up at the next podcast. Ciao for now.